On this episode of Love and Hate, to answer your query, we're going to do The Quiet Place. Or just, yeah, I think it is.
Quiet Place.
Well, A
right?
Quiet Place, the John Krasinski horror movie that is, I would say, the most successful horror movie going right now.
Major studio.
A big hit, a big surprise hit, I would say, is fair to say. It's the leading, like I walked by a Redbox the other day, bam, it was A Quiet Place.
It was a big film.
It's a good movie, and so we're going to talk about whether or not or at least it was been a good movie for somebody's bank account.
Right. It made a lot of money. I mean, it was successful.
Love, hate on The Quiet Place. Coming up next.
Whoa! Sword!
Okay, well, when did you see A Quiet Place? So, The Quiet Place is a horror suspense film.
Yes.
It's a big surprise hit.
Emily Blunt, right?
Emily Blunt and John Krasinski stars a like middle-aged or
post-apocalyptic
couple that have a number of children with them.
30s?
It's hard to tell if any of them are their own children or not.
Right.
In a way, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't make a difference.
It really, at least it shouldn't matter to you. Well, maybe that was a judgment, but I don't think it'll matter to anybody about that. But
spoiler alert: we might accidentally spoil something.
And as soon as you make even the slightest sound, some sort of giant, horrible monster comes in, and chops you up like a Ginsu, and then runs away. Mm-hmm. And this is happening apparently on a massive scale. We don't know. I don't think we ever know if it's happening worldwide. But certainly locally on the east coast of the United States, these animals or aliens or monsters, we'll get into that in a second here, have laid waste to humanity.
Right.
The survivors have learned how to be super quiet.
And everything's about silence. And
then there's the stress, and it tells a story of how they find a weakness in the aliens.
And the fact that she's pregnant.
Is a factor. It's a factor. And there's a deaf protagonist.
She is deaf.
She's like a tweener, or she's like 14, 15, something. A young lady. I think the movie's a beautifully made movie, and I wouldn't give it 5 stars, but I would definitely give it 4 stars, and it's basically an instant classic.
Okay.
That's how I mean, I think John Krasinski did an amazing ass job of not just the story, it's his story, I guess, or at least co-wrote it. The direction is very clean, he doesn't try to overdo it. There's not a lot of camera movements. He just lets the story kind of come out. It's a little bit like Witness. It just let's look at all of this beautiful scenery we have. Look at these
they do take
very good, very believable. When you're in on the close up, the acting's really good.
When they go to the river,
and when you have a long shot, you have this beautiful scenery. It's a little bit like The Village, M. Night Shyamalan in that way. Another kind of not quite 5-star classic, but to me a very good film. But in a similar kind of way, it's a very gimmicky film.
Right.
So you have to buy that the end of the world has happened from these monsters that have these giant eardrums that can,
or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, whatever the hell it is, and they emit a sound and all. But they're deadly lethal with claws that are super hyper sharp and can cut you into. They're just incredible. We don't really know if they're smart, if they're dogs for other smarter aliens or whatever they are.
Right.
And that's part of why I don't give it 5 stars. But those are quibbles. I mean, to me, you believe that these monsters are real and they're fucking people up, and oh my god, you turned on a light or whatever. I mean, they're just.
You're on.
The audience buys the movie. I bought the movie. I think it's an instant classic.
I think I was much harder on it than you were, and part of the reason I was so much harder on it was because I wasn't looking at it from the perspective of it being essentially an indie film.
Now, did you see it? Well, that is an aspect to it.
Yeah.
Is that it is a very small budget film. Yes, it has John Krasinski, who is now about to be a giant star, in part because of A Quiet Place. Well, he's playing Jack Ryan in the new.
He is, and is that Netflix?
Yeah, no, it's
Amazon, right?
And boy, doesn't Amazon look smart for hiring John Krasinski to play.
Yeah, good move by Amazon.
Very good move because he right now he's shot up to the list of leading guys.
Isn't he, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see him playing Indiana Jones after A Quiet Place. He's very. Emily Blunt is very good in the movie. The gimmick is totally original. It is a totally original film. And in an age right now when movies and music and books are incredibly derivative of older stuff,
It's not.
It's not.
All
It's just a
right.
very, like, Tak Fujimoto would shot it. I know that's not who shot it, but it was very just, here's the business. Get it done.
Sure.
And a cool concept that they took totally seriously. Very good acting from young actors who I don't think had a whole lot of experience behind them.
Maybe it is,
and because it's a small movie, it wasn't like a big $100 million movie. It was like, I don't know, $10 million. I mean, almost nothing in modern movie making terms.
Maybe it's a function of
Those all play into
buttressing that point
Yeah.
with what my expectations were. So maybe in its
Well, what
own
were your
way,
expectations?
Well, my expectations were there were massive plot holes. I mean, gargantuan mega plot holes. Part of it was because the situation seemed so contrived, and it leaves everyone asking, why on earth would you get pregnant in this scenario?
I think she was pregnant just before.
Because
it's
the way
9
they
months.
the
It's
way
9 months
they
later.
indicated it, it didn't seem like that was the case. It seemed like she was pregnant.
Jason, I don't
subsequent
know if
to
you
the
know this, but
disaster.
sometimes you take precautions, but there's a
It
touchdown
did not,
anyway.
but in that film, it didn't seem that way.
That's-
They didn't explicitly say it, so you're right about that. Okay, but that implication was there. At least to me, it was, and I wasn't the only one who
I
felt that way.
agree with you that look,
But that in and of itself is not a plot hole.
it's not a plot hole, but one of the things that we don't know if they're even aliens or just monsters like Godzilla were awoken when they dug too deep looking for coal somewhere.
Those situations.
We are never told. Those clippings, I don't believe, get into it. It's sound. I mean, they tell you
Right.
that they're attracted to sound. Well, no shit. We see that in the first 5 minutes of
The
the
name
movie.
of the film is Quiet. So
Right, I mean,
it's-
we know that
Oh,
sound
Quiet
is the
Place.
gimmick. Everyone all
Right,
the
so you think of
parody.
Overlord
Saturday
with
Night
that.
Live does I think a pretty good parody of A Quiet Place, all based on the sound gimmick of it. And but because they don't tell you what they are, well, wait a minute. There's been enough time to have multiple newspaper issues about the monsters, but not if they're an alien or not. I mean,
Right,
that
this is
seems
silly.
like, is it an alien attack, which is what I assumed it to be, or is it demonic? Is
It's hard to say.
Is it
And-
Godzilla, like atomic age shit? I don't
And that
know.
hurts it a little bit from a scale
It does hurt it.
perspective.
Yeah, it
but
does
you're
hurt it.
trying to introduce this level of logic into the film.
It does hurt it.
Right.
And the other thing that hurts the movie is this. It's very hard to believe that anybody could go 400 days or whatever the hell they go in the length of that movie. 1 year, 9 months, whatever it is. How could you go 9 days without farting or saying, "Hey, mother"? Oh.
Right, yeah.
know,
I mean, that's. I mean,
Or
you can be
screaming,
disciplined
right.
or like screaming in your sleep.
Or scream in your sleep, or just something falls down next to you. It just seems very unlikely
Right.
that group of people could survive for that long a time. No, especially with monsters that have zero weaknesses until they discover it at the end. But so that's a big plot hole that they don't it is, and that they don't. And then people, but they'd have a soundproof room a lot sooner. Nah, the movie makes it very clear. As soon as you hammer the first nail, you're fucked.
Right, there it
as soon
is,
as you
right.
turn on your electric screwdriver, you're fucked. There's
So
that many tools that don't make a shitload of
Right.
noise.
And the whole thing is so
there goes tools, you know.
You go to the river, right where they can't hear you.
Right.
Okay, so why wouldn't you just stay at the river? Why would you ever leave the river? Sounds to me like the river equals safety. So why would you ever leave it?
Well, for one thing, you wouldn't be able to start a fire underneath there. It'd be very good chance of dying of hypothermia or pneumonia. And you're assuming that these things are not intelligent and that they wouldn't send a patrol through there.
Well, it doesn't
that
give
is
you that
another
option,
thing in the-
does it?
yeah,
It doesn't really, you know what I'm saying? But in
And-
your mind, you're like, well, wait a minute. If you're safe there, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That becomes.
Because you wouldn't want to raise a family there. I mean, they're clearly.
But you have to make this up. You have to.
Right, but the
Right, bring
gimmick of the movie is, no, this is the way planet Earth is right now
Right.
in 2020. I think it is set in the future, actually. A little
But it
bit.
also seems like okay. So
And if that's the case,
if
if
they
they,
were-
really are there and they're that deadly, almost unable, you cannot deal with them physically. You don't even know if they're aliens. You don't know how smart they are, but you do know that they're dead ass lethal whenever they hear sound. No, it would be
So
very
let me
hard
tell
to,
you. Okay, so
But finding
how
that
did
place is
how did she kill them at the end?
easy.
How did you do it?
You didn't get that? I thought it was
Then
pretty
I want you to explain it to me.
Oh, well, easy. That sound of the kids' hearing aid.
So the sound killed it.
No.
What
The sound,
what killed
the
it?
sound does, it takes its defensive shield thingies and lets it raise up so you can shoot it. You just blast it with a shotgun.
Right. So my question is, well, you couldn't shoot him before.
No, because those things are only exposed when it's exposed to paint.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That seemed pretty. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
I agree with you. It's unlikely that a 50 caliber shot rifle would not punch right through that alien.
I mean, that's my problem. You know what I'm saying? But here's what would have fixed that, though. Here's what would have fixed that. Have the sound kill them. You see what I'm saying? Why introduce the shotgun at all? If you're introducing the shotgun...
I think that they do indicate that you could have the sound kill them. They just don't have that great of an amp. She's running that shit through her ear.
Right. But what I'm saying, though...
actually reproduce that sound.
Have it that way. Have it that way.
We don't know.
Take the gun out of it entirely, because now you're asking why wouldn't you just shoot before? I mean, you had to go into like a detailed explanation.
It makes having a shotgun be a pretty good idea, so I'm not going to go against a movie that makes a shotgun have a pretty good idea.
But what I'm saying is the implication was the military didn't have
my
those.
Second Amendment rights, gun burner guy.
Go ahead, take it from me.
Yeah. So it's
but
so Lover. Hey, I love it. There's problems with it, but I love it. It's a classic. It's fantastic.
Okay.
It's fucking tasty.
God damn it! I can't go to the middle here, can I?
No, you have to love or hate.
All right. I'll give it love just because you're right. It's an indie flick and it deserves to be treated accordingly. So yeah, my quibbling with it is more of a potentiality, like what it could have been, as opposed to
the other part of it is so it's both love, and it does set some things that could be answered in the sequel. That's part of what you want people to come back and do and plunk down. So it's a very intelligent movie in that way. Like, just the idea, look, we don't have the wherewithal financially to show how the downfall happens. It's very hard to do it. It really is. You need
there's a lot to it.
People. You have a lot of people screaming. Or fake newscast after fake newscast showing the fall. Those are harder to shoot than you think. Sure. You have to have those broadcasts.
Well, like the beginning of World War Z. I mean, just
the beginning of Dawn of the Dead with George Romero. There's a huge sequence in the beginning of that film in a newsroom.
Yeah,
right.
That's a great bit.
That is a great bit, but that took some fucking time and money. Someone let them use that studio. It's a big deal. Whereas opposed to A Quiet Place. Nope, they're just there. It's like 28 days later in that regard.
It just becomes...
Or The Walking Dead.
Yeah. I mean,
it really is. It literally is 29 days after.
A contrivance. You're like...
But they're
and here we are.
They didn't have that like $10 million, man.
I know. Bitch.
All right, so it's both love. Go see
A Quiet Place. It's good. I mean, you won't be a bitch like me. I'll complain about everything. So, but go see it. You'll like it.
All right, so like, subscribe, share, and...
Ooh, and then fucking all of a sudden the area goes... and you hear...
People just get to see it.
And you hear the fucking guys going, yeah! He's like, yeah, get that motherfucker. Dude, the fucking U.S. troops. Oh my God, Dad.
Be sure to visit EvilGeniusEntertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.